Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to Module 4 of the Effectology Method program. Now, Module 4, just to remind you, is all about releasing the resistance, because the bottom line is that the greater part of us is always in alignment with all that we desire, with everything that's waiting for us, all those ideas, thoughts, dreams, rockets of desire, as Abraham calls them. They're all there, they're all waiting, and the only thing that's getting in the way is our own resistance, our own insistence on focusing on the absence of it, putting the fear and the doubt and all the things that stop it from flowing into our experience, into our own way. So that is actually all we need to learn to do, is to stay in alignment with the greater part of us and know to recognize, first of all, and then release the resistance when it exists. So we've already covered some really simple but powerful things in the previous lesson. I won't bother recapping. You've got that recording there for you anytime you need. And now we're going to move on to what I call some quick fixes. So I'm going to take you through a few processes that really help you to switch and flip negative vibrations, to release resistance, and to do it in fairly simple and easy ways. Some of them are things you'll need to use repetitively to really reap the benefits, and some are things that instantly make a switch. And the key to all of this is your own self-awareness. So I'm giving you a whole host of processes, and some of them will be more appropriate for you in certain circumstances. It's up to you to practice and play with them. Some of you will like certain ones more than others. You won't really be able to connect with some of them maybe, and others you'll absolutely love. So please just explore and play with all of them, and make sure that you use them in various types of situations and various levels of resistance, because some processes are really, really helpful for just really small, niggly little nuisances, which are still important to clear, because otherwise they fester and they grow. And others are really great for using for sort of the more medium level things, or even the bigger things. So please play with it, because everybody is different. And really the bottom line is that what we're doing here is we're teaching you and giving you an opportunity to become aware of your alignment, or the lack of it, which is all that resistance is. It's lack of alignment. That is it. The bottom line is all you're looking for constantly on an everyday basis is the best level of alignment possible. Alignment to the greater part of you, alignment to you, source, alignment to the truth of who you are and what life truly is. The God part of you, if you will. So just a reminder that this is really the bottom line. We are these conscious creators, and we have choices, and we choose what we want to focus on. And your perspective, which is your choice of what to focus on, is everything. And your world does literally change before your eyes as you change your perspective. And sometimes that's easier said than done, right? Sometimes we're so in the middle of something, unwanted, or the resistance, that we just can't see our way out. So that is why I want you to have this toolkit, or this arsenal of tools that you can go to, so that when you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know what to do, or at least go back to your list. Keep a list of all these things, maybe in the back of your journal, and tag it so that you've got a handy reference list of all your tools, everything that you're learning through the course of this program. And as I'm recording this, I had to do the same this morning. I had some resistance, I had some negative vibration, and I thought, oh, what do I do to clear it? What do I do to clear it? And you know what? I ended up thinking, that's right, there's the process I taught you in the previous lesson. I'm going to apply that. So sometimes you really do have to help yourself by having a list handy of what are my tools, because as humans, we're sometimes so caught up in the problem that we just cannot see the solution. And that is why we can't easily change the perspective unless we have those tools to tap into. So make it easy for yourself to remember what your tools are in the first place, so that you can use them to benefit you when you need them. Now, this is a really important kind of thing to take on board. People always ask me, how do I stop this? How do I stop this from happening? How do I stop myself from being stuck in this negative vibration or in this resistance? And you stop what is not wanted by giving your attention to something that is wanted. It's as simple as that, because if you just try to push against what is unwanted, you're reinforcing it, you're giving it more energy, and you're actually growing it. So the trick to stopping what is unwanted is to stop giving it your attention, to stop feeding it with your energy. And you can only do that by taking your energy away from it and your focus away from it and giving it to something else, which means you have to be able to ignore the problem and start to expect to see the solution, because you will get exactly what you expect. And this is why you need to immerse yourself in this work. This is why you need to work and stay close to your buddy. This is why you need to stick close in the group, because this takes practice. It takes immersion. We are so trained to keep focusing on the problem, dig deeper into it, hoping to find the solution at the bottom of the problem, that it can be really hard to turn that around. It's not a difficult thing to do, but it takes persistence, because it's these old ingrained habits and ways of being. So remember that this is your work. You have to learn and train yourself to be able to ignore the problem for long enough to allow yourself to see and find the solution and allow the solution to come through, because that is what you will get. You'll get what you're focusing on. You will get what you expect. So there's really just 3 steps to all of this. And that is, number 1, take your attention off the thing you don't want, even just for a moment, because even just for a moment stops the flow, stops the focus, stops the old patterns from continually running and reinforcing themselves. Number 2 is find a way to start focusing on what you do want. So you need to have these little tools, these little hacks and tricks in your toolkit. And then remember that you've got the unconscious mind and law of attraction there, and they will run with it as soon as you get the ball rolling. So the key really is to take your focus off what you don't want and direct it to what you do want. You need to ignore the problem and start to expect to see the solution, because your unconscious will give you more of what you focus on. So you just need to take your focus off it, even just for little amounts of time. It starts to weaken those old neural pathways. It starts to weaken and wobble those old vibrations. And as you start to notice where your focus is at and choose to turn it around and choose to direct it to what you do want, you start to give power and energy to what you do want. So you're creating a space and an opportunity for the new thing to come in, for the new associations to start being connected up. And then as you can shift your perspective and start to tap into the power of your unconscious mind and law of attraction, you'll be able to see what was hidden from you before, because your old perspective wouldn't allow you to see it. So you need to go to a higher perspective, a higher level, and give yourself all the space you need to think and feel differently. So these are the 3 steps, and in this lesson I'm just going to give you processes to take you through those 3 steps. Simple as that. So the very first one is just a really simple technique for weakening an old habit, an old pattern that's running, because that's all a habit is. It's an unconscious and automatic pattern in your nervous system. And we have habits of thought, habit of feeling, habits of speaking, habits of acting and reacting. So we have all these different habits, but all they are they're automatic and unconscious patterns in our nervous system. They're firing on autopilot over and over and over again. They're triggered by the same old things, the things that we anchored in. And you can refer back to one of the earliest lessons on the mechanics of how all this works in your brain. But they're wired in, right? But you're not stuck with them forever, because the thing is that as you keep using them, you keep reinforcing them and reinforcing to your mind, to your unconscious, that this is important and this is this is how it is for me right now because this is the pattern I'm running. So fighting against that pattern doesn't work. Willpower doesn't work when you want to fight what is unwanted because you're actually reinforcing it. You're feeding it. It's like saying, you know, try to stop smoking. Just try. And just the actual word try implies not succeeding. So people who try to stop doing this and try not to do that anymore and try to change old habits, they usually don't succeed. Willpower is the absolute most difficult way to break down an old habit pattern because most of what you're actually doing is reinforcing the old habit pattern. However, your brain will start pruning synapses, meaning it starts pruning and breaking down those old neural pathways really quickly as you stop using them. And the first step towards that is to actually stop just letting it run on autopilot. And this delay and distract is one of the simplest ways of doing it. So think about it. You've got this automatic pattern that just fires over and over again. What if you could start just going, in a moment? It can fire. I know that this needs to happen next, but in a moment. And you just delay it a little bit. Now, the nice thing with that, as opposed to using willpower, where you're trying to stop it and say, no, you're just saying in a moment. And your mind is used to that. Your unconscious mind is used to having to wait for your conscious mind to catch up because your unconscious mind is your amazing supercomputer that can process billions of bits of information per second. And your conscious mind can only handle just over 100 or so bits of information per second. So your unconscious, all those automatic patterns, they're used to sometimes having to wait for your slower cranial conscious brain to catch up. So that doesn't cause any alarm bells. That doesn't cause any resistance in that old pattern, making that pattern stronger. It's just a normal everyday thing. So you basically say in a moment, and then you distract yourself for ideally at least 2 minutes. And by doing that, you have weakened that old neural pathway, even if you still go ahead with that old behavior, with that old pattern after the delay and distract period. So all you need to do is decide what kind of habits you have that aren't serving you. Maybe it's a habit of just snapping at your partner every time they say something, or telling your kids off if they're not ready for school in time, or whatever it is. You know, it might be something to do with how you act in your business about certain things. So just choose something to start practicing on, because we want to practice ideally on the easy things that we're not as attached to, build up our confidence, and then start moving on to the bigger and bigger things. So maybe make a list and put the big important thing that you really want to work on at the bottom of the list, and then start figuring out easier things you can start practicing on to lead up to it. And then all you're going to do is when you catch yourself about to go into that old habit pattern, you just say, oh, in a minute, I'll yell at the kids, or I'll bite my partner's head off, or I'll panic about this thing in a minute. First, I'm just going to go and just do something. You can say, I'm going to check my Facebook news feed and just scroll through the first 20 posts, or I'm going to check my emails. This is a good time to be distracted by those things I usually tell you to stay away from. Or I'm just going to go outside and check what the temperature is actually like when I'm standing outside in the fresh air. That's probably the healthiest of these options I'm giving you. So find something that'll distract you for a couple of minutes. Go to the bathroom, make a cup of tea, anything. And then, like I said, it doesn't even matter if you still go ahead with yelling at the kids, biting your partner's head off, or worrying about whatever you were going to worry about, because you've started to weaken the old pattern. And as we are working so much on building all the new patterns by doing all our high vibing activities, by doing our visualization, by doing our daily meditation, we are building new patterns that will start to take over from the old ones. So all you're doing here is you're really just taking the opportunity to, speed up the process by weakening those old patterns a little bit. Now, there is one area where this can be most challenging. So I'm giving you a specific process for it. And I call this the automatic negative thought loops, or ANTs. And you might have heard this term mentioned around, especially among psychologists. They speak about ANTs quite a bit, and they have different ways of dealing with them, which I won't go into because I strongly disagree with a lot of those processes. But here is mine. So it's really just the delay and distract, but we're going to apply it specifically to worry thoughts, because these are the automatic negative thought loops that tend to run in the background, and it's almost like a constant little background music. It's like when you're in a shopping center and there's, a jingle playing in the background, and you tune it out after a while. You don't even realize it's there, but it's playing all the time. And we all have these kinds of worry thought loops that can insidiously keep running in the background, and we're so used to them that we kind of ignore them. We screen them out, and so we think they're not really there, but they actually are. So make a decision to start becoming aware of them. Again, they are nothing but unconscious patterns of thought, and they're nothing more than a habit. So the same things I just talked about with delay and distract absolutely apply, and we can weaken those as well with a delay and distract technique, because it gives your mind the opportunity and encourages it and gets it to start pruning those synapses, starts breaking down that old thought loop, and that creates the space for your new patterns to take over. So I've got a specific audio that is available in this lesson called Weakening Automatic Negative Thought Loops. And I want you to listen to the audio, because it steps you through a process that is specifically designed to create a delay and distract for these kinds of things, because I find that they need just a little bit of a specialist approach. So that's all there for you. I won't go into detail on it now because you've got the audio to do that for you anyway, but that's a really good one, and the audio is designed to help you learn the process, which is really simple, and then you can do it on your own anytime you catch yourself in those worry loops. Okay, now the next process is one of my favorites, and we're going to do this at the live event because it's lots of fun, and you're also going to practice it with your buddy. And what we'll do is we will actually practice it as a group on the live call just to demonstrate it, and then you can go away and practice it with your buddy. But yes, but versus yes, and. So the reason that I always get people to go through this process, and even my Manifesting Masterclass students love to do it over and over again, is because we tend to do this in our daily life inside our heads without even realizing. So when you play yes, but, what you're actually doing is you go, oh, okay, this is happening, but that could go wrong, but I'm not ready yet, and you come up with all the buts, and you negate and stop the vibration from building. You stop the positive momentum from building, which then allows law of attraction to bring you all the things you need to make it happen, right? You keep putting a stop to it, like you're interrupting the good pattern here. This is like a negative pattern interrupt when you play yes, but with yourself. And often we do this without even being aware of it. And what I want you to start training yourself to do instead is play yes, and. So when you catch yourself in your mind going, yes, but I'm not ready yet, I'm not tall enough, short enough, qualified enough, old enough, young enough, whatever your excuses are when you're starting to think about something you want to do, or something you want to have in your life, or somewhere you want to get to, and you start with the yeah buts, start catching yourself. Again, it's a bit of a delay and distract, but now we're starting to turn it. And what you're going to do is consciously start to play yes, and instead. And that feels really differently. So when we do this in the demo, in the Q&A call, it'll really come together for you. So when you play yes, but, you're constantly chopping and stopping the momentum from moving forward. It's like, yes, I've got this great idea, but, and so you stop the momentum, but, and it's tiring, and heavy and it doesn't feel good and you can't get any momentum going. When you switch it and you start playing yes and, which is what I want you to then consciously do after you catch yourself in a yes but, is you go, yes, I'd really like to do this, and I'll start researching what courses are available for that extra qualification I might need. And I'm going to look for other people who are just like me, who are doing it successfully. And I wonder if I can get there this year, what I might have to do to support that. And I wonder, in how many different ways this is actually possible. So you start using some of your tools from previously, absolutely, throw it all in there, mix it up, it's all good. But the point is that instead of playing yes, but, where you're constantly stopping the momentum, you play yes, and you build the momentum, and you allow your creativity to open up. You actually get in alignment with your higher self, which means that you're then in tune with and connected to all your intuition, all your insights, all those higher faculties, and things start to flow. And that's when law of attraction can kick in on that to also support you, bring you more ideas for starters. So when you start having those extra ideas with your yes, and this idea, and that comes to mind, that is law of attraction kicking in for you at the level of thought. And as you start to build that, and that gathers momentum and stability, then suddenly you get an impulse maybe to go somewhere, or to see someone, or to call someone. And next thing you know, you bump into somebody, and the law of attraction starts kicking in at the physical level. You have certain conversation, or you see things, in your emails or your news feed, and it triggers other ideas. And then there are certain conversations, and then somebody calls you, and it builds and builds and builds. So huge difference between yes, but and yes, and. And unfortunately, a lot of us in our lives, until we become aware of this, we are stuck on playing yes, but. So this is something at this point for you to start being self-aware of, and to start turning around. And like I said, you'll be doing this with your buddy, and we'll be practicing it on the live Q&A call. Now, similar to that, but just forgetting about the yes but part, is that's right, which is also a game that I get you to play on the live event, because it's really powerful. It's a powerful way of noticing the momentum building. So when something goes well, or when you notice something that is just as you wanted, you need to start practicing saying, that's right. And what you'll find is you can't just stop there. Law of attraction kicks in right away, and you'll go, and I've done this before, and I'm going to do it again, and I'm so excited because this is opening up more opportunities, and that's right. And I do have new opportunities coming all the time. That's right. And every time a new opportunity comes, I have more ideas. And that's another great game to play on your own, where every time you notice a bit of good positive momentum, this is about milking it once again. It's a bit like a rampage of appreciation, but it's specifically using that's right as your trigger. So when something goes well, you go, that's right, and you let that create that forward momentum from that point onward. And it's a really fun, powerful thing to do. You can do it totally on your own, or you can do it with a friend. And once again, I'll get you to do this with your buddies, and we'll practice it on the live Q&A call as well, because it's such a simple thing, and it's fun, and it's extremely, extremely powerful. And all the while, you're actually training your brain to start running the positive circuits. You're training your vibration to stay in a higher vibing place on a more and more permanent basis. And all these habits interlock and build and support one another. Okay, so let's move on to the last part of that 3-step process. So we've already shifted our attention away from what is unwanted, and we've started to turn the corner to what is wanted with the previous tools I've given you. So now we're going to just tap into our higher faculties and all that support that's already available, so we can really shift perspective and see what you couldn't see before. Because until you're willing to take on a new perspective, you cannot see things differently. So remember that your executive assistant is available 24/7. You've got an amazingly powerful unconscious mind at your disposal all the time. Ask it questions anytime, knowing it will go away and start researching and finding the answers for you. And then make sure that you practice things like your meditation and your quiet time and your visualization so that the answers can come. Now, to support you in a little bit more specific ways in using and utilizing your unconscious mind, I have pulled together in this lesson some of the most useful and powerful audios that I have created. So some of them are from, I created them for other programs, but it doesn't matter. They're all here together for you to use in this module. And so you've got 4 of them. And the first one is one that is a really beautiful, powerful process to go to any time you need some guidance from your unconscious. So I'd like you to approach that one with, a specific question in mind, something you'd like some guidance on, something you really do need to start shifting your perspective on so you can see things differently, start to release the resistance and allow yourself to move forward. And that unconscious guidance audio, it's a pared down version of a hypnotic process I do in my one-on-one sessions with people. And this is for you to just do on your own. So your unconscious will give you a symbol to help you answer any questions. The unconscious mind loves symbolism. It is highly symbolic, and it will choose symbols that have deep and profound meaning to you. So really trust this exercise because it is your unconscious giving you the perfect symbol in answer to your question. None of it comes from me. It all comes from you and your unconscious. So that's one to have handy anytime you feel like you need some guidance. It's always there for you. You don't need to call a practitioner or a therapist. You've got your unconscious mind to help you. And this audio will help you in a structured way to ask it for that help. And then I've got another audio that I created to help you release resistance. When you're really feeling stuck on something, this one is great for allowing you to get into that place where you can surrender and release resistance and feel okay with that. And then similarly, I've got another one that's called Making Peace with What Is, allowing you to tune back into and connect back to that knowing that there's a bigger plan and that you're safe. And then the final one that I've put in there for you, pardon me, is, sometimes when we're caught in resistance, we allow ourselves to be pulled to pieces. We really lose our alignment, and it's like bits of us are sprayed all over the place. We're worried about this, we're thinking about that, we're trying to get this done, and we completely lose our center, our grounding, our balance, and our alignment. And this meditation just helps you consciously call all those pieces of you back in together and reach that beautiful place of alignment again. And that's really powerful. So those are all there for you in this lesson. So you've got 4 audios to go with this lesson. So here's what you get to do as a result of everything I've just told you. Number 1, I want you to choose a habit to practice the delay and distract technique on. So I've already explained it. You know what to do. Just practice it. And like I said, maybe make a list of little habits that you can keep working through as you build your confidence with this process. And then finally, you can get to the bigger habit that you're more attached to. And also remember, you've got that specific audio, learning to surrender the automatic negative thought loops. And that's specifically for the habit of worrying, which I find usually needs a slightly different approach. So see how you go with that. And like I said, you may come up with a great delay and distract or pattern interrupt for worrisome thoughts, and that might do the job for you. And please share with us in the Facebook book group because everybody's different. Or you might find that this surrendering automatic thought loops process is just what you need because it's very gentle. And I find that that works really well for things like worry, thoughts because we're very, very attached to them. You know, we like to worry because we are afraid that if we stop worrying, then the thing that we're worried about will happen. So we feel like worrying keeps it at bay, which is crazy because we all know that worrying makes it come. Worrying about something is what creates it. Yet we still tend to get caught in this habit of thinking, I better worry about it just to kind of keep it out. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. So worry thoughts are pretty insidious, and, you know, they tend to just run on automatic loops in the background, like that annoying background music in shopping centers. Okay. The third bit of home play for you is to really set an intention that you're going to notice when you're playing yes but with yourself, when you're yeah butting yourself, and make that conscious choice to switch it to yes and also practice playing that's right on your own. So when you notice something really good happening, or when somebody compliments you, or something positive comes up, jump on it and play that's right. That's right. I do have new clients booking all the time. That's right. Money's flowing to me all the time. I always have money coming into my bank account. There's always more and more and more. And I know that, you know, there will be, so you just build on it. So when that's right is just a nice way to trigger that rampage of appreciation, really, but you use the words that's right. And we'll play it in the live Q&A call, and if it's not totally clear to you yet, it will be then. And don't forget that you've got all those audios. Please download them, have them handy, because they're your go-to audios. And, you know, play with the unconscious guidance one. Use that one as soon as possible and see how it goes for you. Now, with your buddy for this lesson, I want you to particularly practice yes but and yes and talk about it. You know, talk about how it feels, and maybe wait until after the live Q&A call if you're still not 100% clear on how it goes. But basically, when you do it with a buddy, one person starts by making a suggestion, and it can be anything. It can be, hey, how about we catch up next week and go to the beach? And you decide that first you're going to play yes, but. So every response starts with yes, but. So your buddy might say, how about we catch up and go to the beach next week? And you reply, yes, but we live in different states. And then they reply, yes, but we have pretty cheap flights. So how about you jump on a plane? And then you reply, yes, but I don't want to spend the money on that. So you just yes, but. Every response is yes, but. Play that for a little bit. Notice how it feels. This is about noticing and becoming aware of the vibration and what it feels like, because, pardon me, with these games, it really helps you build awareness of vibration, of resistance, of positive vibration, of building negative momentum, of building positive momentum. And that's what you need to start becoming aware of, really fine-tuning your antenna, so that when you're going through your day-to-day life, you can go, ooh, I'm on a negative vibration here, or I'm in resistance, or I'm building negative momentum, and then you can switch it and you can start building positive momentum. So it's not about just, you know, saying, I have a problem, how do I fix it? It's about on every single day being able to notice where your vibration's at, whether you're feeling resistance or not, and knowing how to switch it up. So you play yes, but, and then you do the same thing again, start with the same initial suggestion, and instead of the first response being yes, but, make it yes, and. So it might be, hey, how about we go to the beach next week? And then the reply might be, yes, and I can just come on a plane and see you. Yes, and there's always really cheap flights. Yes, and I just saw some yesterday. And you'll notice that momentum builds really fast and it's really fun. So play with that and have fun. And then also play a game of that's right. So again, just start with a suggestion, tag team, and keep going backwards and forwards. And each response starts with that's right. And you'll notice that that builds really good positive momentum, and it's lots of fun. And then report back to the group and let us know how you went. So in the group in general, outside of your buddy stuff, also share, you know, stopping automatic negative thought loops, and delay and distract. How's that going for you? Play with it. Maybe use the hashtag ants and hashtag delay distract so we know what you're talking about. And, share how it's going, but also share when you catch yourself needing to use it. And, really, really reinforce to yourself that you are doing this and you're becoming more aware. So when you share in the group, it really helps reinforce it to yourself and wire it deeper into your brain. And that's why the sharing is so important. So make sure that you notice, you set an intention to notice, to play with these things, to delay and distract, to use the stopping ants process, and then report in the group how it's going, because that wires it in deeper for you and helps you to start to create those new positive neural pathways around it. And also set that intention to catch your yes buts and start switching them to yes ands, and tell us about that as well, for all the same reasons, that you're starting to catch yourself, that you're starting to become more aware, that you're able to switch your vibration around. Because like I said before, this is not a do it once, turn the corner and away you go. This is a day by day, moment by moment practice of awareness. And yes, it gets easier, and yes, your momentum and vibration will become more predominantly positive and high vibing, and all of that gathers momentum, and away you go. But until you get to a certain stage, and that is different for everybody, it really takes the diligence of practicing it every single day and really immersing yourself in there and being really aware. So keep doing this until it's just second nature, until it's super easy, until life's just, nothing but rainbow unicorns. So catch your yes buts, switch them, and share about it in the group, and let us know how you went with your buddy. And I'll see you on the live call in just a few days, where we're going to have a general discussion. As always, we're going to practice yes and versus yes but. We're going to practice that's right. So hopefully by the time we've done that, you'll all be crystal clear on that, and then you can go away with your buddies and do it again and really start building that vibrational awareness. And as always, bring along all your manifesting questions, because they are important. I can't wait to see you then. Until next time, keep on embracing your unlimited potential. Bye for now.